Good morning. Well, who knew that yesterday's installment would be such a pot-stirring event? I, uh, I've gotten a lot of feedback, 99% really supportive and positive, even from other clergy people, even from some Roman Catholic clergy who applauded me on the down low for sharing what I shared yesterday. So, despite the one comment that was basically telling me to keep my gay agenda to myself, it's all good. It's all good. One of the benefits that I have had as an old Catholic priest, which almost no priest can say, is that I have never given a sermon that I did not believe 100%. There's never been a time when I have been compelled to do a doctrine-based sermon or talk about any social issues from an institutional perspective that I didn't agree with necessarily. That's been a crazy good blessing. Christmas gifts and New Year's Eve and all of that. There's a lot going on in my head today, so if this seems like stream of consciousness, I'll give you my apology at the front end of this. We get a lot of stuff at Christmas time, some of us, that, we just don't need or want, or it doesn't fit. And it's striking to me that the second craziest shopping day is December 26th, when, we're all putting on the happy face for our families for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then we're like, oh, I'm going to take this shit back. So I have kind of a funny story about that. A couple of years ago, I had something to take back to Macy's, and I had ordered it online. So it's a really simple process, actually. If you do that, if it doesn't fit or you don't like it, you just put it back in the package and you take it up to the return counter, and they just hit it with a scanner, and you're done, right? You don't have to do anything. So I'm waiting in this long line. It's just after Christmas. And there are people there with their children. And of course, God love them. Some parents think that if you take your kids to the mall, you can basically ignore them and they'll turn up somewhere, when you're ready to leave. So there are kids like in the clothing racks, and they're running around and they're screaming and hollering. And so to be humorous, I said to the woman in front of me, who I didn't know, in my best foreign accent, I said, you see that child over there? In my country, such a child will be taken out on the playground and executed by his peers at recess time. Straight face. I don't know what got into me that day. And she looked at me like, oh my God. And like the whole line must have heard it, because the whole line, it was like the parting of the Red Sea. And I walked right up to the counter and returned my package. And I thought, I need to do this crazy stuff more often. This is going to save me a lot of shopping time over the years. Returning gifts we don't want. Man, I think we can all agree that the year 2020 has certainly been the premier gift that we really didn't want. But we got it anyway. And there was no return policy. So despite all of the challenges, though, And there have been significant challenges. 350,000 people have died, mostly unnecessarily because of neglect and irresponsible behavior by our leadership. Leave that for God to sort out. But for me personally, when church shut down, live church shut down on Palm Sunday of all times, I didn't know what to do. So I took all of my palms, because I had a ton, and I set up a little table on the street corner outside the church, and I simply sat there and I had communion with me, and I had palms, and people just going by saw what was going on, and they stopped. And I literally gave away all of my palms. I didn't even have like one palm left for myself when it was all over, and gave communion to all sorts of different people. That, for me, was the biggest blessing of the pandemic. It pushed me to be more creative in doing Mass alone, right? If you've ever tried to like figure out pre-recorded music from, from previous Masses, and pull the music tracks out and burn all of that to a CD or put it on a flash drive, and then make that try to look seamlessly integrated when you're actually doing a live broadcast. Man, that's a struggle. That's a struggle, but I got pretty good at it. I got pretty good at it. And the other huge blessing that was completely unforeseen, I continue to have drive-through communion for months. I've started it up again. I have met literally hundreds of people who are never going to be part of a church community, who are never going to, drop in or become parishioners or contributors, but they came by for the sacrament and a blessing. I heard more confessions in cars from people who, some of them weren't even Catholic, mind you, than I have probably in the previous 5 years. I blessed vehicles and pets and said prayers with families and talked to people who were high AF on drugs and or alcohol. One man came up on his bicycle, was so intoxicated, he literally fell down face first and got up, because sometimes, when you're that drunk, there's no pain receptors in your body. Took communion, asked for a prayer. It's been a freaking miracle. And none of that would have happened if I had been able to return that nasty gift of 2020. Today's New Year's Eve. Watch night is a thing. Some of my white sisters and brothers might not be hip to this, but it goes back to, it really goes back to like the 1700s, waiting for the new year to come with blessings. But it took on a special significance for the African American communities in the South, particularly New Year's Eve 1862, as the congregations of slaves gathered in their churches, sang songs, prayed their scriptures, held hands, and they waited for the word that it was midnight, January 1st, 1863, because that is when Lincoln's great Emancipation Proclamation was to take effect. That's still a great tradition, and I have tried to follow it as an old Catholic priest as long as I've been ordained. Waiting and watching for freedom in the new year. That's a powerful image, and I think even more relevant this year. The other thing that I have done every year since I've been ordained is a burning bowl ceremony as part of the Mass. And it's a real simple ritual. And I'm going to do it tonight at the Detox Center with my clients. And if I'm not too exhausted, I'm going to head over to church afterwards and do a live broadcast from there as well. The idea is simple. You go into a brief reflection period, a meditation. You write down on little pieces of paper all of the things that you want to leave behind in the old year, the unworthy things, the things that have stood in your way of enlightenment and compassion and acceptance and all of that. You write those negative things down. And then people come forward and they place it in a bowl. A simple prayer is said, and the papers are burned up. And if you use magician's flash paper, you simply drop a match in, and it's a spectacular 6-foot flame that lasts exactly 2 seconds, but it leaves no ashes behind. It's pretty dramatic, very effective and powerful. So like I say, I'm going to do that tonight, hopefully twice. It is also my mother's birthday. My mother died in 2012, I believe. You have to sit and figure it out. It's a bummer to be a New Year's baby. It's a bummer to be born anytime during the holidays, truthfully, right? If you're born on Christmas, how are you going to have your birthday party and upstage baby Jesus? That is not going to happen. My mother was born New Year's Eve, was almost the New Year's baby that year, 1933, but wasn't. And the problem with her birthday was, when I was a kid, of course, I always remembered it. But as I got out on my own, I don't think she ever got one single birthday card on time. It was always during the holiday hubbub of craziness. And I was either, on the road visiting other family, in-laws and all that with the kids, or, down in New Orleans having a little sunshine time with the kids, whatever. She never got a card on time. And so I would end up calling and then sending a late card, which I just despise. But I'm thinking of her today. Her life was not easy. She did not end up with the Prince Charming she thought she was marrying. She was not perfect, but she was my mother, and she loved me. And after her death, I got pages from her journal that she wrote to me as an infant, and so I found out some interesting things that I will treasure. And one of those things is that on my baptism day, she took me over to the altar, the side altar, Mary's altar, and she dedicated me to Mary, the Mother of God. I have felt that connection with the Blessed Virgin Mary my entire life. And knowing that little fact now, I think that helps explain that. New Year's Eve, we are about to receive a gift, you and I. 2021, tomorrow. We ring the bells, we make, a lot of noise. People used to bang pots and pans, for millennia, really. The horns and the noisemakers and all of that, and the Old Lang Syne, all of the noise-making stuff, that really goes back to a pre-Christian era where it was believed that if you made enough noise, it would drive away the demons. That's why that tradition we hang on to that. That's where that comes from. So this year, man, let's make some damn noise. Seriously. Get up and bang some pots and pans. Don't hit the good ones. Don't hit the nonstick side. Hit the bottoms. But make some damn noise. Ring some bells. Shout if you have to. Let's drive away the demons of sorrow and evil. Let's drive out those demons of fear and crime and despair. Let's make some noise and drive out the demons of systemic racism so our black sisters and brothers can live and jog and sleep in their bed and thrive in peace. Let's drive out the demons of illegal drug trafficking and gang violence and hatred and addiction of every kind. Let's have some noisemakers to drive out the demons of hatred against people who love differently than we do, and drive away the evil of child molesters and sexual predators, and the demons of alcoholism and fentanyl and heroin. Those things are killing 5 to 7 young people every single week. And I'm really damn tired of having to go to funeral homes for people who could be my grandchildren. I'm done with that. Let's make some damn noise tonight. Let's scare away the demons of fear and of our lesser selves. We know what a hard year looks like because we're in one. We're at the end of it. Let's just embrace the gift of 2021. Whatever it is. Let's just decide tonight that we're gonna find the positive. We're gonna find the positive. No matter what. We're gonna accept the gift as given. Let's pray. Mighty God, we come into your presence on this last day of 2020. Thank you. Thank you for the hidden blessings and opportunities that have come our way in the last year. Keep us open to your love. Help us to love ourselves, first of all, as you love us, so that we have something to give someone else. And through the intercession of the mother of your Son, mother of us all, keep us mindful that you nurture us and hold us close, even on the darkest nights, as we wait for our own freedom. Amen. Happy New Year.